Hello and welcome to the Prime Reckoning. I'm Julie and this is a channel for women over 50. So today I'm really struggling. I'm still sick. There's something going on with my stomach. As some of you know, I've been sick for about 3 weeks now. I don't know what's going on. I have been to the doctor. They did blood work and everything. They still don't know what's going on. And it's been my experience with my particular medical history that Western doctors often don't have the answers that I need. I think that Western doctors always are looking for a medical cause, something wrong with your body, when in fact the cause may be something else, environmental factors or the types of foods that you're eating, things like that. And I shared my story about my last huge stomach thing that turned out to be the food that I was eating was causing the problem. Only after thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars of tests that found nothing wrong. So this time I'm thinking I'm probably going to have to figure it out myself again, but we'll kind of see how it goes. I think that coffee may be contributing to some of my problem. I had to give up coffee when I was in my 30s. I'd been a coffee drinker since I was a teenager. I always drank coffee. My mom was a big coffee drinker. And in my 30s, I started having trouble breathing, and I went to the allergy doctor, and they told me that I was either allergic to coffee or caffeine. They couldn't tell me which one. And caffeine sensitivity had always been a problem with some other family members of mine. I didn't have it until I was in my 30s. So I did end up giving up coffee for about 15 years, I think. I went without coffee, trying to do the coffee substitutes, which are awful, frankly. If you're a coffee lover, if you're not a coffee lover, you could maybe just skip this part. But if you're a coffee lover, you understand there is no substitute for coffee. And yes, I would rather have decaf coffee than no coffee, but caffeine is part of the coffee is an experience, y'all. It's a ritual. You know, you wake up in the morning and you begin your day. It's the brewing of the coffee, the smell of the coffee, the flavor of the coffee, and it's a whole experience. And then the caffeine hit gets you started for your day. So I'm a coffee lover. I always have been. I always will be. But may have to make some changes. I made some changes today. I feel a little better than I did 2 days ago. I had a really rough day. Man, it was brutal. So still a lot of trial and error trying to figure out what's going on with me. So it's frustrating, but we'll get there hopefully. And I know I talked about this in another video as well. It's one of the reasons that, excuse me, that I wanted to work for myself, because I had a lot of trouble in my last job about the amount of times I was calling in sick. And I'm not entirely sure why my boss gave me so much trouble for calling in sick, because I never ran out of sick days. You know, when you get a job, you're typically given a block of sick days every year. It's like, okay, this many sick days. And I know some places do total time off. It's all just taking his days off. But where I worked, and a lot of places, they had devoted sick time that, you know, you could take. And I didn't run over my sick time. And I only called out sick when I was sick. But I was sick more frequently than my coworkers, and it got to the point where my boss was saying, okay, you have to bring it. Every time you're call out sick, you have to bring a doctor's note. You're abusing your sick time. And I'm like, how can I be abusing my sick time if, I haven't used it all? I still have sick time. If the company says, okay, you can be sick up to, I think it's like 2 weeks a year. The company says I can be sick this amount of time, and I didn't go over that. So it's frustrating, and I know my father had the same problem. He's mentioned to me when he first started his career, he would get in trouble for having to take a lot of sick days because you're just sick. And often I didn't take sick days when I was sick. If I was just a little bit sick, I'd go to work and struggle through, which sucks too. But, watching my coworkers and noticing that they never seemed to be sick, and I always seem to be sick is kind of frustrating, but that's what it is. The only job I had that I did run out of sick time was the job that I had previous. And with that particular job, the job was causing me to be sick. My boss there never had a problem with me taking sick time. In fact, I remember having to go to human resources and say, I'm out of sick time. What do I do? I ended up using a lot of vacation for my sick time. We were talking about FMLA and some different things. But that job itself was making me sick, and kind of my whole life at that time was making me sick. I was in an area where I had no friends at all. I hated my job, I hated my marriage, and my body was just shutting down. My body is like, I can't do this much stress. I can't handle it. So I ended up just completely quitting that job cold and walking away from it. That was one of the best decisions I ever made, because I knew that if I stayed, my body would just shut down and I would die. It was too much stress. My body couldn't handle it. So got rid of the job, got rid of the husband, the whole thing. Turned out better in the end. So that's where I am today, and just kind of trying to figure out where I want to go with this channel as I move forward. I'm thinking of doing some shorts for Facebook and Instagram, just kind of vlogging the things that I'm doing during the day, and talk about some things in the day of the life of a woman over 50. So I will be working on that in the next several weeks. So I have also started a new diet. I may have mentioned it to you guys last time. I am doing basically a no-carb diet. Kind of doing carnivore with vegetables added in, because vegetables are never going to be a problem if you're trying to lose weight. Non-starchy vegetables. I'm talking like spinach, onions, mushrooms, things like that. No potatoes, no sweet potatoes, no starches, no corn, nothing like that. But meat, vegetables, limited dairy, and a little bit of nuts just for snacks at night, because I get munchy about 10 o'clock at night. Every single night I have to have a little something. So I'll have a handful of nuts and a stick or two of cheese. And I'm pleased to say it's working. So y'all know I was struggling getting my hormones right. And I finally think we got them to where they needed to be. And as soon as we got the hormones adjusted, I immediately lost 10 pounds, y'all. Just dropped off like that. Of course, I was on a low-carb diet at that time, too. I wasn't eating just a shit ton of carbs. And I love carbs, y'all. So it was rough. But honestly, now that I'm into the carnivore diet, I'm enjoying it. I don't get hungry, except, like I said, late at night. I always get munchies late at night. But I eat, I eat some kind of breakfast meat and eggs for breakfast, sometimes some spinach thrown in there for breakfast. And then for dinner, I've pretty much doubled my protein intake, and I've like tripled my my vegetable intake. So I'll have 2 servings of protein with my dinner and just a shit ton of vegetables, a bunch of vegetables. I'll fry up some mushrooms often. I love mushrooms. I'll have a big old salad or make some asparagus or green beans or something. And I bought an air fryer. I got it pre-Prime Day on Amazon, and I ended up getting almost $30 off on the air fryer. And the reason that I bought the air fryer is because I absolutely hate the summer heat. It is very hot here in the South where I live. I'm backwards, so this whole thing always confuses the hell out of me. But and I may crop this out of the video, you may not even see it, but my blinds are closed all summer. I have a southern facing house that the sun is just blaring in, I love it. It's one of the reasons I bought this house. It's very sunny and beautiful. But in the summer, if the sun is blaring through the windows, the air conditioner really struggles to keep up with the heat, and we're going into a heat wave this week. So I was on a Facebook group, and one of the people said, hey, y'all, get yourself an air fryer, and then you won't have to turn your oven on for the entire summer. And oh my gosh, what a difference this thing makes. It's amazing. I haven't actually done any real cooking. I just toss the meat in there and turn it on. But it's good. It crisps the chicken up really nicely. I did pork chops in there. I did a steak in there. I haven't done any seafood in there yet. I don't know how it does with seafood, because seafood can kind of burn quickly. But I do have some snapper and some other things in the freezer. So I order my meat. I get a subscription box that I like, and all the meat is antibiotic free, and the bacon doesn't have any sugar in it, and it's really good meat. So the box comes, and I throw the meat in the freezer, and I go to the grocery store. I get vegetables and dairy and my nuts and things, and then when it comes time for dinner, I'll just pull a piece of meat out of the freezer. The night before, I'll put it in the fridge to thaw. And then when dinner time comes around, just 15 minutes ahead of time, I take the meat and I chuck it in the air fryer. And y'all, chicken is done in like 10 or 15 minutes. It's amazing. You don't have to turn on the oven and bake it for an hour. And I'm just finding it super easy, and I'm enjoying the fact that I can have a different meat almost every single night. Now, if I have a big chunk of something, some of the steaks are really big, and they'll package the chicken where it's more than a serving. I may have leftovers the next day, or skip a day, and have leftovers from 2 nights. Kind of have 2 different meats. But I'm really enjoying having a different meat every night. And it is so easy with the subscription box in the air fryer. Oh my goodness. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I'm loving it. And I read that you can put meat and vegetables in there together. I don't know if it fries your I haven't tried it yet. I don't know if it really fries your vegetables. The only thing that I'm really scared to put in there, like I said, is fish, because I know how quickly it cooks. But maybe it's just like a 2-3, sorry, whack the microphone. Maybe it's just like a 2-3 minute thing when you I don't know. I haven't looked up fish yet. You can look up everything online now. And asparagus, because asparagus is not good when it's overdone. I usually bake my asparagus, and I only bake it for about 10 minutes, but this week it's been hot, so I may just chuck it in a frying pan and see if I can cook it. I probably can. I don't know, see if I can cook it up that way. But so I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying the diet. Like I said, I don't feel like I'm giving up a lot of things, except, like I said, I'm a carb girly. I'm a carb fan. I love my carbs. And when my stomach is upset, like it is now, carbs are what kind of makes my stomach feel better. They go down in there, they soak up the acid or whatever's going on in there. So I have been eating some carbs this week, but on this carnivore diet, I have lost another 10 pounds. So that's 20 pounds I'm down. I'm so excited about this, y'all. As y'all know, when the hormones hit, I just kept gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining and gaining. And y'all, I got to 200 pounds and I just freaked the hell out. I said, I cannot be 200 pounds. This is insane. And I was having so much trouble doing everything. I prefer to take a bath instead of a shower, but I was having trouble getting in and out of the damn bathtub, so I stopped taking baths. Now I think I can take a bath again and get my fat ass up out of that bathtub. But I had stopped doing that. I was on the toilet and I reached where I was trying to wipe, and I pulled a muscle in my back trying to wipe my butt on the toilet. And just noticed that I fell asleep on the couch one night, and trying to roll over on the couch was like trying to move a beached whale, y'all. It wasn't happening. I was like grabbing on the back of the couch and hauling my fat ass up there, and I'm like, and now I just pop up and flip over, and it's not a big deal at all. So, just losing those 20 pounds has made a lot of difference in, the ease of just life, everything. And, clothes were starting. I wasn't able to wear a lot of my pants. I had to order some new summer pants. But I'm able to get back into my older stuff again. So I still have about 40 more pounds that I would love to lose. If I could lose another 20 pounds, I'd be really, really happy. If I could lose that 40 pounds, I would be thrilled. So that's what I'm doing. And like I said, again, I'm not a doctor. Not a professional, although I did take some nutrition classes. I was a certified health coach for a time. I let my certification lapse because nobody wants to hire a fat health coach, y'all. So when I started gaining weight, and I'm thinking, I don't think this is going to work for me for a career because I just can't get the weight off. So it's hard. I get it. I understand. I know what you're supposed to do. And even doing everything right, I wasn't losing weight for the longest time. Sorry, my hair is driving me nuts. It's too short. I like to be able to kind of tuck it back behind my shoulder, and it's not. It's falling forward in my face, and I did wash it last night, so it's a little bit unruly today, but that's all right. So that's where I am today, and that's what's going on with me. Like I said, I do want to do some shorts, maybe, cooking in the air fryer, running around doing things that I do. So I may get that started here in the next week or so. So hopefully y'all are not in the same boat. You're not struggling with something, but if you are, drop it in the comments below. Let's have a conversation about it. I may do a video about it. You can see what's going on with everybody. So let's move on to our badass woman of the week. This week, our badass woman is Rosalind Franklin. Rosalind was born into an affluent and influential Jewish family in 1920 in London, England. She displayed exceptional intelligence from early childhood, knowing from the age of 15 that she wanted to be a scientist. She received her education at several schools, including North London Collegiate School, where she excelled in science, among other things. Franklin enrolled at Newnham College, Cambridge in 1938 and studied chemistry. In 1941, she was awarded second-class honors in her finals, which at the time was accepted as a bachelor's degree in the qualifications for employment. She went on to work as an assistant research officer at the British Coal Utilization Research Association, where she studied the porosity of coal, work that was the basis for her 1945 PhD thesis. In the fall of 1946, Franklin was appointed to the Laboratoire Central des Services Chimiques de l'État in Paris, where she worked with crystallographer Jacques Mering. He taught her X-ray diffraction, which would play an important role in her research that led to the discovery of the secret of life, the structure of DNA. In addition, Franklin pioneered the use of X-rays to create images of crystallized solids in analyzing complex, unorganized matter, not just single crystals. In 1951, Franklin began working as a research associate in the biophysics unit, where director John Randall used her expertise and X-ray diffraction techniques, mostly of proteins and lipids in solution, on DNA fibers. Studying DNA structure with X-ray diffraction, Franklin and her student, Raymond Gosling, made an amazing discovery. They took pictures of DNA and discovered that there were two forms of it, a dry A form and a wet B form. On their X-ray diffraction, pictures of the B form of DNA, known as photograph 51, became famous as critical evidence in identifying the structure of DNA. The photo was acquired through 100 hours of X-ray exposure from a machine Franklin herself had refined. Despite her cautious and diligent work ethic, Franklin had a personality conflict with colleague Maurice Wilkins, one that would end up costing her greatly. In 1953, Wilkins changed the course of DNA history by disclosing, without Franklin's permission or knowledge, her photo 51 of competing scientist James Watson, who was working on his own DNA model with Francis Crick at Cambridge. The two scientists did in fact use what they saw in photo 51 as the basis for their famous model of DNA, which they published in 1953 and for which they received a Nobel Prize in 1962. Crick and Watson were also able to take most of the credit for the finding. When publishing their model in Nature magazine in 1953, they included a footnote acknowledging that they were stimulated by a general knowledge of Franklin's and Wilkins' unpublished contribution, when in fact much of their work was rooted in Franklin's photo and findings. So once again, a woman doing amazing work that got stolen by men who took all the credit for it. Our history sucks, y'all. Fortunately, we had some amazing women who invented some amazing things. Men invented some amazing things too, but a lot of women didn't get credit for their inventions, which sucks. So that is all I have for today. If you would take a moment to like and subscribe, it really helps my new channel out as I am growing. Also, give me a follow on Facebook and Instagram. Like I said, I'm always more active on Facebook. I'm not great at Instagram, but I'm trying. I say that every week. Sometimes something gets on Instagram, but if you're old like me, you're probably still on Facebook, which is a good thing. Anyway, I'll link all those things in the description box below. As always, thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.